Shit.
God damn it, Sean, you motherfucker. Always fucking it up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mana Dorks Podcast, episode 12, I believe. 11 or 12. I don't have any fucking clue. Anyways, I'm your host, Tasty Snackies. As always, brought with my co-host, McBee. How's it going, McBee?
Very good, very good.
Just good? That's it?
Hey, it was a fine day. Got a lot done at work today. A lot of really boring commercials that people are looking forward to hearing in the Eugene area got in the air because of me. So,
hell yeah. You're the commercial guy?
Yeah, commercials, man. I make them.
You got the voice for it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And you add all the reverb and the explosions and shit.
Hey, I don't make those reverb and explosion commercials. Those are not for me.
No?
Those are not a Sean McBee production.
I was about to say, like, I remember when you used to have your previous podcast with Romine. Didn't you like make the intro to that, and it had like the reverb and like the nerds clip or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. That did have it. I want to do that for this podcast actually, and have a little imaging. They call it in radio, imaging.
We need to do that. We need like an intro or something to make it unique, because I need to step away from this Google Hangouts format and focus like more towards like Discord or something, and so that way I can do intros and that kind of shit. We got to up the production value.
We should just get a third person.
Hey, well, speaking of, we have a third person in the chat today. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name's Dan. I'm a local player in McBee and Tasty Snackies area, and it's a pleasure to be here on the podcast today.
Cool. So what can you tell us about yourself, Dan? When did you start playing Magic? We'll start off with that.
Oh, geez. 98?
No.
Is it 97?
Yeah.
It was when I was in like 7th grade.
We were cracking packs of like Mirage Visions.
Yeah.
And like 4th
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And had some little bit of tournament success. Made a couple PTQ top 8s. Lost in finals of states. That was a great experience and memory.
Yeah.
Dude was playing main deck Relic Barrier.
What's that?
Good question.
Exactly.
So it was when Affinity was like in standard and just wrecking house. Like you could not play a tournament without playing against Affinity.
Mm-hmm.
And the dude just went to states and just threw 4 main deck Relic Bears that just taps an artifact, and it's only 2 mana. So he just like locks down your best threat every freaking turn. You're like, go to Cranial Plating my god. He's like, nope, tap that. I need to like untap with a certain colored mana. Nope, tap that. It's like Icy Manipulator, but 2 mana, and you don't have to pay mana to tap it. You're just like pay 2 to cast it, and then you're just tapping shit every turn. It was.
They should bring that shit back in standard. That doesn't seem that like oppressive.
No,
it's tap target artifact, right? Though.
Yeah, but when the deck that you played against is all artifacts,
yeah,
then like you lock them out of lands, you lock them, or like you use it to deal with their threats for a little bit until you get a board wipe or something to deal with their threats, and then all of a sudden you are locking them out of resources.
Yeah, and like Cranial Plating, like now in Modern, like you think it's good now, when it was in Standard, you just like, oh, do you have the plating? Yeah, okay, I'm dead. Like you just scoop them up. You're just dead. Like you tend them most of the time, and yeah, so that was pretty fun. I lost there, lost to him in the Swiss, and then played him in the finals, and lost in 3 games each. So it was at least close. But that's actually not my fondest memory in Magic. My fondest memory in Magic is this guy McBee and my other friend Richard back in the day when we grinded for a PTQ season. They both split in the finals, and I bubbled for that top 8. So we almost had our entire test group in that top 8 of that tournament, which I think, I mean, that's a great feeling to have, and then to see your teammates split in the finals, that was like, who could ask for anything more, That's what your goal is when you're testing for a season, is for you to get top 8 or win the invite, or your friends and teammates. So it was pretty awesome. I'm a Friday Night Magic champion,
Ooh.
Oh, I got it right here. Check this out. I just got this like Apparently they make these.
Oh, that's cool. What store did you get that from? Hold on,
Guardian.
let me hold this up. That's really cool because that's pretty similar to my pre-release trophy. Yours is like that blue Jace one, but
What does mine say?
but mine is like that as well.
What does
But
mine say?
it was for the Battle for Zendikar pre-release. I got it in two-headed giant, so I was carried essentially. So I didn't necessarily earn that trophy all by myself, but it still counts. It's like the participation trophy of Magic.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. Oh, that's what it is. Oh, that's what it is.
It's a participation trophy?
Uh-huh.
I thought you were always so proud of that thing.
I am proud of it. I did well in a pre-release. I'm proud because it's the only pre-release that I've ever done well in, because I usually just fucking shit out, always. Like 0-3 drop kind of level.
Or you end up trading your good cards for bad cards.
Yes, actually, my first pre-release, but that's because I wanted Gisela really bad and I didn't care about value at the time. So what was it? I traded a foil Sigarda, Host of Herons, for Gisela and something else.
Yeah, some other trash.
I didn't care about the value. Like, I knew at the time. I think you were there warning me, and I was like, oh, whatever.
Was that a Sean trade?
No, it was...
Somebody random.
Someone. Yeah, some rando.
You guys were both like not particularly aware of the cost of the cards that you were trading. Like it just seemed like, oh, this angel's not as good as this giant doubling damage angel, so yeah, I'll give you the foil version of this guy for your giant insane doubling damage angel. You were both pretty scrubby about it, but then everybody on the sidelines was like, dude, the value!
I didn't care at the time. This was when I was like just starting to get into standard and shit. Like I had bought my first box like the week prior, and it was Dark Ascension, and I got burned so bad on it. I got 2 mythics. I got the Falcon Wrath Aristocrat, and then I got Archangel's Light, dude.
Yeah, Falcon Wrath Aristocrat wasn't even good for a while until after that. So
yeah.
Was that
But that was the Avacyn Restored pre-release.
Avacyn, oh man, that was my favorite pre-release. I opened Bonfire, that one.
Oh, nice.
I got some nerds with that one. I will tell you that right now.
I remember Epic had like cupcakes for that.
Yeah, that was awesome. That's my most memorable. Everyone was there, all of our friends. It was just the cheers moment, just everyone showing up and having fun.
People hated that draft format, but I loved Avacyn Restored Draft. It was so fun.
Yeah, I've heard people just shit on Avacyn Restored forever. I've always had nostalgic ties to it, probably because it's my first pre-release, so I have that bias, but I didn't think Avacyn Restored was that bad.
I think coming off of Innistrad Dark Ascension or Triple Innistrad Draft, which is arguably like one of the best all-time for, well, just people have a great memory of it, because I think it was like a turning point for Magic and like the whole draft format. It was
dynamic
so
pick orders, dude.
Yeah, good dynamic pick orders.
Like, I mean, I only drafted a couple times and I loved it. I was like, whoa, so this crap card that's just trash for me is amazing for you? Like, isn't that what we all want in draft, is, everyone to have good decks and, pick orders matter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really had a great crafted, like, draft, what would you say, like, archetype? Like, they were very firm and clear archetypes that you could easily make a good deck out of, and like you could play lots of 2-drops because they were just in every color. You had a cool like red-blue spells deck, or like a blue-black, like zombie recur stuff deck, or green-white travel prep. The deck, just so fun.
Yeah,
man, that was a great draft format. Too bad Avacyn Restored didn't quite stack up comparatively. But still fun, though, because it had a lot of great, flavorful cards in it that made it very much worth playing. So,
do you remember playing Eric's block decks that he made? Those are great.
Block decks, what?
Yeah. You need to school this youngin on block constructed, dude.
So yeah, I never really had the chance to play block constructed because they ended it after Theros.
Yeah, so
I was still playing standard at the time, but I wasn't invested in playing block construct because no one like really held any events, which is probably why they like turned or shut down the format, because no one was just hosting that kind of shit. But yeah, the only thing I remember is like, wasn't like Midnight Haunting and like Intangible Virtue banned and Innistrad blocked constructed?
Yeah.
It was Intangible Virtue was banned. Midnight Haunting was still playable.
Right. I thought it was one of those. It was either Haunting or it was Souls. Was it Souls that was banned?
No, I can't remember. I know
it was Souls. Yeah, it's probably Souls in the Enchantment. That sounds right. Because Souls was busted, dude.
So good.
It's still good. It's a fucking it's good on its own.
Like you give that with the enchantment, you're like, all right, let's go. I only need 2 cards to win.
Yeah, like Souls makes 4 bodies. Come on.
Yeah. I've managed to pull away in so many modern games by just generating Souls tokens, stalling out long enough so I could chain Bedlam Revelers, dude. God, it's such a good card.
Man, that's so gross.
Yeah, dude. You haven't lived until you've chained like 2 to 3 Revelers in a row, dude.
I wish they would bring back Block Constructed, dude. That was such a great format, and it was really a precursor to what was going to be good in like Standard coming up. Like it would really give you a great indicator of like what the decks were to look out for coming into your new Standard format, and it was just so much fun.
Yeah, and it was like you got a whole different format to focus on, and you could like kind of.
You could really break the formats.
Yeah, you can start moving your collection over to, like, you start trading out the old stuff for this, like, current block that you're playing. And it allowed you, I think, and made it more viable for you to trade out your cards and get into this new format, the new emerging format with brand new sets in it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, kind of pushed you in that direction a little bit better. And, you're right, gave you kind of a lay of the land for later on when the old set would drop out and you just be working with whatever that new set was. Like in this case, it was like Innistrad. You were working with a bunch of Innistrad cards as all the meriting cards were dropping off or something like that.
Yeah, Scars and no, Scars and Innistrad shared. They were right next to each other.
Oh, right. So that would be Lorwyn.
Zendikar. I think Zendikar was before.
Lorwyn is definitely not Lorwyn.
Dude, that's so far back, I'm not even going to try to remember that stuff. Like,
yeah. I'm 33 years old. My brain doesn't work anymore. Whatever.
That's modern, right? Right?
Yeah.
That's as far as I go.
So, the first subject that I want to talk about, as always at Magic the Gathering, there's controversy to be found. And boy, did I find some controversy. So, this dude that I've never met before in my entire life, his name is Eli Kaplan. We'll go ahead and share that. To give a little context beforehand, over this past weekend there was a shooting at a synagogue. So, in response, Eli decided to tweet this out. Dear Magic community, we want to say something. Many of us are reeling from the vicious anti-Semitic murderous attacks in Pittsburgh this weekend, and we need to make it very clear that anti-Semites have no home in the Magic community. We need to name those people. Then he goes on and on and on, and he talks about how the Kekistani flag is hateful, and he tries to tell you that he understands where it's coming from, and it's still a hateful thing, and blah blah blah. Regardless, he gets down here and he mentions Rogue Deckbuilder, because he keeps alluding that there's hateful people to expose in the community that promote these ideas. And here we are, Rogue Deckbuilder set up a bunch of various Kekistani-themed playmats, including ones with the authentic slur on them. And in case you didn't notice, I have that mat in my background. And I told him they were inappropriate, but he laughed me off and said I was paranoid. That's the only thing that really focuses around Rogue Deckbuilder. He more or less uses it as an opportunity to get at Jeremy Handley, aka Unsleeved Media, and he's just going on and on and on, and like I'm sure you could already pause the video and read this shit, but I don't necessarily want to make fun of him. I'm just saying hey, this is a kind of a bad take, a really bad take. What's your opinion on it, McBee?
What? That's a strange place to start trying to find Nazis. The Magic the Gathering community. Maybe he's just grasping onto what he knows. I mean, he clearly is a big fan of Magic, so he wants those people to be like clearly identified, so they can be shamed out of the community. Like, I get it, man. Nobody wants Nazis around, but that's
Like he's what's that called? You're reaching for something that's low. I can't remember the
Like low hanging fruit.
There you go. Thank you. God, I've had trouble trying to recall that saying, but that's what it kind of feels like low hanging fruit. Like, oh, this guy says shekels, or this guy has like Keck imagery, even though he's not hateful or he's not trying to promote hate speech. He's just celebrating what it stands for, and it stands for making fun of people who take things out of context too easily, and that's kind of what it boils down to.
If you're going after Rogue Deckbuilder, like we're talking about the same guy that was on the show with us, right?
Yeah.
Like that guy's super nice.
Yeah, and seems to really choose his words very wisely.
Yeah, he's not out there promoting any weirdness like that. That's not anything that's even close to in his wheelhouse. He's a very nice man who runs a great card shop and cares about the people that come to his business. Like,
yeah,
what the fuck is this guy talking about?
The only thing that it has me worried about is
like the backlash from it that he could receive.
Yeah, the backlash. Sorry, I had to pause there for a second. I had an issue with my computer, but
Have you tried turning it on and off again?
Well,
is the power cable plugged in?
Thanks, guy. Thanks for helping me out. Yeah, didn't that happen a couple episodes ago? I had to step away because I didn't have the power cable plugged in. I'm dumb and unprepared. Besides that, the thing that I'm concerned about with is, yeah, like you said, like people in this day and age, they seem to, like, if you can't get someone to walk away by shaming them out of the community or whatever, they'll try and get at you, like, financially or hit you where it hurts and try to find a way to deplatform you. And it's already happened with him prior. He used to be on Gathering Magic, and he took a side during the whole Sprinklegate that he was warned. He's like, if you do this, you're going to be gone. And he did it, and he's gone. So once again, people are trying to find a way to deplatform him. Or this is a fear of mine. I'm not saying this is actually happening. It's not probably, but it's a concern of mine that people may be trying to contact Wizards of the Coast and say like, hey, you know, you already removed the WPN status of that store that had the Keck flags displayed, and they defaced WPN property or whatever. That I think we went over that a few episodes ago.
That was such nonsense too. That was absolute nonsense.
Yeah, and since he makes those mats, like maybe people will use that as an excuse to contact Wizards to be like, hey, can you remove this guy's WPN status? Like,
well, they need to at least give him the opportunity to remove the flags or be,
I don't think
continued from the WPN network. That wouldn't be like. I mean, they would give him the opportunity, right? Because he probably doesn't know that it's offensive, or.
Well, he knows all about that, like
this guy's
background and everything.
I think his argument is that it's not offensive. He's like, this is not something that.
Yeah, and Kevin even said, like, Rogue Deckbuilder said that, like, you're stretching. You're reaching for something that just isn't there, bud.
Yeah, but people like to take things out of context. Like with that other store that had the Kekistani flags up in their place, and they were just like, oh, you're spreading anti-Semitic propaganda and you're being hateful and shit. And yeah, they didn't even get a warning. They just got pulled immediately. No, they were just one and done. Like Wizards of the Coast is just like, wash our hands of that. We got Arena coming out. We don't need any controversy.
Yep. All we're doing is just speeding up the timeline a little bit.
Just cleaning house, man. Don't give a shit. Just get out of here. Don't need you.
Extra baggage.
They'll be dead on a long enough timeline anyway. This one, they won't miss this one. Local game stores, RIP.
Which sucks because he's like the only store like in that immediate area. Like if he gets his WPN status taken away, it just shits all over a bunch of kids in that area.
And that's exactly why those kind of game stores are open, to give kids a place to go and to
it's like a clubhouse kind of place.
Especially in rural areas, like big cities, we got lots of opportunities to go to many different establishments, but a rural area with like a low population town, how cool is that to have just a hangout place where you can go there and feel safe and and jam some games of Magic.
And you know what? That's part of the argument for the people on the other side is like they go to places like that and they're like, we don't feel safe, and maybe they just need a little more exposure to the world.
Yep.
Need a little more exposure to what actually goes on around them, because people are always going to have dissenting ideas from you. Like, are you gonna fight every single person, a battle with every single person who has a dissenting opinion from yours? You're gonna wear yourself out. Like, who cares what somebody has up at their game shop, unless it's like, and if you have that big a problem with it, like, you should walk out. But going and dragging their name through the mud over something that you think is somewhat offensive or that you clearly are reaching for, do something better with your time, man. Go improve the world in some other way other than ruining some person's business.
Yeah, it's you said it perfectly. I don't really have anything else to add to that.
Topic number 1.
Check.
All right, we're gonna have to end the episode here. Perfect ending. Y'all have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
I'm trying to get this next subject set up. I'm trying to get all these
Fruit
images
hangs
open
low?
because the fruit hangs low. Does it? That should be a T-shirt design for man. Fuck. Fruit hangs low, huh? So, in case anyone hasn't been paying attention to Standard lately, it's been diverse. Diverse is a nice way of putting it. And diverse is healthy. And healthy means people will continue to play. So we're going to go over the top 8 of GP Lily in specific. We're going to go over these decks. This one first, because A, Arc-like Phoenix, but B, this is kind of similar to a deck that I already play on Arena right now, which is how I play Standard, and that's a blue-red spells package. Now, my main difference from this deck is I don't play Phoenixes, and I don't play the Charta Course, Dive Down, Lava Coil, Opt, Radical Idea, or Tormenting Voice. Mine is more of a stally counter burn deck that finishes the game off with like Fight with Fire and Expansion Explosion. But this is a much more focused, hyper, get your spells in the yard and swing with big stuff.
I have actually played almost this exact list, and it's really fun. It's a lot of fun. It's like combo aggro, and there's certain games where you can like pick your spots where you're like, I'm gonna go beat down, and like there's nothing they can really do to stop my aggression. And then there's some games where you're playing its control and you just have to go kind of like combo where you essentially throw out a Phoenix and just get in some beats, and if they have a removal spell for it, that's great. If not, you're gonna like go off with all your instants and stuff and get it back, and then you've got these huge cackling drakes that are just like lethal. Like it's very normal to have like a 12-4 cackling drake that's just like, yep, lethal, better deal with this now or you're dead. Like, it's a fun deck. It's awesome, and I'm really glad that Arclight Phoenix is a rare or a mythic rare that they printed in this set and shoehorned this strategy into the meta, because it's a lot of fun to play, and it's a lot of fun to play against, I think.
I am a real big fan of Radical Idea at finding a deck finally. That was a card that I was waiting to be.
Dude, I didn't think it would be a thing, but that card is good. It is really good.
I just realized I got one of those in my sealed pool.
Yeah, definitely.
The Phoenix
card in limited as well.
Yeah, the Phoenix and the Cackling Drake, truthfully, and that card was bonkers.
Phoenix is like a $25 card.
Yeah.
Sell.
You need to pay attention to Rogue Deckbuilder, because that guy has been saying Arclight Phoenix is a hot card for quite a minute now, and lo and behold,
Market Monday, dude.
Yeah,
he's great series.
Rogue Deckbuilder, that guy with all the Kekistani stuff in his store.
Fuck him. God. And then I also like the sideboard here, how it kind of turns into a control deck.
I like that this deck plays the maximum velocity card. So you can just be like, Drake, maximum velocity, bang.
Oh, I've done that several times. It feels good.
Yeah, I'm surprised that this deck isn't playing like the Goblin Electromancer guy, and then that card that makes a creature deal damage equal to its power. And you can jumpstart it.
What card?
It's like 4 mana, and it does damage to target player or to any target equal to the creature's power.
Gravitic Punch, I think it's called.
Yeah, something like that.
I think it's just a little bit too expensive. Like turn 4 is when you're like kind of going off, and you're doing like Tormenting Voice for a single red, and then like a shock or a Charter Course. Like Living the Dream is like turn 2 Charter Course throwing away a Phoenix, and then turn 3 you just like do like a couple like cantrips for 1, and then you're just like, yep, Phoenix coming at you, and you've already like. I mean, you don't. The great thing about this deck is you don't lose any value in your hand when you're like going off. Your hand size stays the same, and that's what I like about it. It just feels good to play. Like you're not penalized for like overextending onto the board or whatnot, and it's just it's a fun deck. I love it.
Yeah, the Arclight Phoenix card looks really insane. Like,
yeah,
being able to buy that card back over and over and over again. Again, the hallmark of a good card is it rewards you for something that you're already doing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like Landfall, or like what's another good one? Like stuff that's you for things that he's already doing.
That's why I really like Expansion Explosion, especially the build that I have it in, because it does things that I want to be doing. Like I'll copy Fight with Fire, sure, or I'll copy your counterspell or copy my counterspell to get extra triggers off from my electrostatic field or whatever. Like
copy Thought Erasure, dude.
Yeah, dude.
That is so bonkers.
I've
They're
done
like,
that.
Thought Erasure, you're like, no, Thought Erasure you, and I'll take your the salvage counterspell. Yeah, your turn 3, and then like they're like, I don't have anything to do, go, and then they're like, no, I'll get you again with it.
Yeah, I'll just keep holding up counterspells now that you're behind. Thanks.
Dude, that card is the sleeper. I think that's like the card that was most underrated. That is just the ceiling is, sky's the limit for that card.
That was my number 1 pick.
Yeah, great pick. That card is so good.
Yeah, that's my number 1.
Expansion Explosion.
It's the half fork, half invoke the Firemind.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, that card is good. Yeah.
Bonkers. I lost a match where got down to like a grindy like stalemate of like counter war. He essentially like forced me into a bait EOT, and I had to commit, and he untaps and just like explosion you for 13, and I'm like cards in deck. 13, and I'm at like 13 life, so no matter what I was dead, like lethal and like decking, and I'm just like, okay, that card is legit.
Man, I was able to pull away. I was playing against Mono Red, and they were just beating my fucking face, and it was game 3, and I was holding an explosion in my hand, very last card, just like fighting through shit, and he had the only thing he had left he didn't have anything in his hand, but all he had was a Viashino Pyromancer. So I was able to explosion for 2 keep myself from dying because I had 1 life, drew into another expansion explosion, so I untapped, passed until the end of their turn, and then did it for 3 on them, and I just caught up. Like, I said last week that it's this format's Sphinx's Revelation, and the more I play with it, the more it is this format Sphinx's Revelation.
Should have been a mythic.
So good.
It's so good.
It should have
been a mythic. I mean, if they would have printed that mythic, I'd been like, okay, well, let's play with it first, and then you're just like a couple games and you're like, yep, this card is legit.
What do you guys think about some of the other like control-y
I need to pull up the next deck, actually, now that you bring up control, because I'm going to be trying this next in Arena, this next build. This is Just Guy Control and features Ral is a Viceroy, which I'm a big fan of. 3 of Cackling Drake, on top of 3 of Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. So, Teferi's not the only win con of the deck. It does have Drakes and a Ral, and it does have Expansion Explosion for another win con. Deafening Clarion, which I'm really glad is a 4 of, as well as Revitalize. Revitalize is the most interesting option in this deck.
Renewed Faith.
Yep, Renewed Faith. I was just about to say that. Revitalize is like the flavor of the week. I mean, that's the talk of the subreddit right now, is just Revitalize, because all the mono red players are like, he, slow meta. Nope, not anymore. Revitalize value.
Yeah, the value on it's so good.
Yeah.
It's like a counter spell for any red burn spell in their hand. You negate one of those and you draw a card. That's as much as any control deck wants to do.
And that's where I find like the red deck really packs its punch, is where it has like the turn one drop, the 1/2 that has haste if you have sorceries or instants in your graveyard. When they have that guy followed by like double Wizard's Lightning, oof, it's a clock, man.
Jeez.
I don't like it. But Revitalize, man, it's legit.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Like, I wonder if it's going to be like what you were saying, flavor of the week, if it's not just going to kind of die off as the meta shifts. Like, this could be a card that I could see sticking around for a while.
I think it'll stick around for a couple weeks, maybe more than that, and then your mono red will diminish, and possibly those players will go to like green black mid range. But like,
what if
it's still a good card.
What if when Azorius comes out in the next Ravnica, you could throw in Revitalize and a Jeskai spells list, kind of like what we saw earlier with Arc like Phoenix, but this is a cantrip and a way to help stall out against aggro.
Isn't that scary how like Azorius doesn't even have its set yet, and Jeskai is probably the second best deck? Like my Grixis deck is done. Like I've got Dimir and Izzet. We're done. No more additions probably for the rest of.
You still get Rakdos.
Oh, that's right, Rakdos. Yeah, you're right. But Jeskai is spicy, and dude, Clarion board wipe on turn 3. That's so huge.
Oh yeah.
The red white Boros deck, plays History of Benalia. If they're on the play and they get that out, and then you're like, I don't think I want a Clarion this turn. I'm going to hold up a Sabotage. You sabotage their 4-drop, which is probably the Angel Aurelia, I think her name is. Mm-hmm. And then you untap Clarion, his 2 night tokens, and then his Benalia goes off, and it just doesn't get any value, because that's the critical turn where they chunk you for 2 of those tokens, swinging for 4 damage a piece. I mean, it's History of Benalia is another legit card where if you had them 2 weeks ago, they've like tripled in value since then. So
I like the trick of using Clarion, because looking at the list, like you could use Drake as like a way to block out against an alpha swing, and then use Clarion's second mode to like boost like 8 or 9 life from it.
Yep,
man,
such a good card.
Yeah,
I love cards like that have multiple modes and just gives the players lots of choices and options.
What do you think about this deck, McBee?
I'm always a huge fan of Jeskai. Like, Jeskai is long been one of my faves, and especially with this Crackling Drake card in it. Like, this card is going to be played for a bit. I mean, the casting cost on it is a little restrictive, but mana is wide open right now. It's got 4 toughness. It's got all the things.
Oh, and by the way, Star of Extinction, that is a legit card as well.
That's surprising to me that card is as good as it is.
Yeah, Carnage Tyrant. Kills Carnage Tyrant and other planeswalkers.
It's so ironic.
Yeah, but doesn't Cleansing Nova do that as well?
Dinosaur.
Cleansing Nova?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I'm surprised Cleansing Nova didn't... I didn't see a Cleansing Nova in that list. But there's Star of Extinction, which I guess is just a way to take care of planeswalkers, I'm assuming.
Yep. So like the green-black player can sometimes have out like the 4-drop Vraska and or the 6-drop Vraska, and then they jam like a Carnage Tyrant on you, and you're just like, crap, like what do I do? And Star of Extinction, man, it just pulls you right back into the game.
And it can like blow up a flipped land if they have one.
Yep. Search for his Kantas, get blown up by it as well.
Oh, yeah. I love that they have Legion Warboss in the sideboard of this one too.
Yeah, I love that card.
It kind of turns into like a more mid-rangey deck.
It reminds me of putting in like Geist of Saint Trapped against people.
Yep.
A little transform.
That poor little guy dies to more shocks than anything. It's so sad. Like I play him and I'm just like, shock. Like 9 times out of 10, he's just dead. He never gets to like do anything. But I mean, the games where he does get to swing and actually mentor up, it feels really good.
Yeah, he's not as explosive as Rabble Master, because that was like the main comparison. He's like, he's the next Rabble Master, but like the difference between War Boss and Rabble Master is like you need at least like 2 turns to really get your value out of War Boss, or I mean like 1 attack really to get your value, but like you really need 2 to push it over the edge. Rabble Master, it was just like virtually one swing in, and you just fuck someone's day up with that card.
It's so funny too. Like on Arena, hardly any players know how to like do the timings with the stops against War Boss. So like you'll play a War Boss and it'll just like immediately go to combat and you'll get the token, the value of the token, and they're just like, oh wait, okay, fine, kill your War Boss, and you're just like, yeah, I got a 1/1 for 3 mana for free. Like, yeah,
For
doing
free.
it. Yeah.
What do you think about the green-white deck?
So the next deck, exactly. Thank you for guiding us along here, McB.
I like a Celestia deck. I do like it.
I like this as well because I've also been playing my own version of Celestia because I don't have Benalia's in my collection, but I do have March of the Multitudes and Venerated Loxodons, and I can tell you for a fact that those cards are super fucking good, and this deck in general looks super fucking good. I wanted to try Saproling Migration. I've been seeing people play it. I just never really pulled the trigger on it. I like Adonto Vanguard a lot. Like a lot. It's a great chump blocker against something like a Carnage Tyrant or something like that. And then like you can pull ahead with Venerated Loxodon and Tristanis, and then obviously Benalia's to like really push the game over. Shalai is obviously good tech against Secure the Waste. And then the sideboard, what I find interesting is that there's only 1 Vivian Reed and then 3 Tocatli Honor Guard. Now, Tocatli Honor Guard has been a surprise card recently that helps shut down a lot of like the green-black decks, especially, but we'll get into that later. McB, tell me, since you were the one to bring up Celestia, tell me what you think about this deck.
Does not remind me very much of the Celestia deck from back in the day, but I mean, it has a bunch of really good cards in it. I like the new Hunted Witness guy.
Yeah, that is a pretty great one-drop. Yeah, it is the Doom Traveler of this format.
Yeah, I think he's a little worse than Doom Traveler, but still, fine dude. Lifelink is a thing. I enjoy this deck. This type of deck was always one of my favorites, so it's good to see that this is alive and well, and mostly a decent white weenie deck with some like token making strategy. But this like History of Benalia card I've not been able to play with, sadly. It all looks like it's very fun though.
I got to try it out before the account wipe, and then when the account wipe reset again, I didn't redeem Benalia's with my wild cards, but yeah, they're houses. I don't know if these 2 cards over here are Flower and Flourish. They look like rares, so I don't think they are, but they also kind of look like uncommons. But
which ones?
These 2 right here, I'm going to try and zoom in. They look like uncommons. I think they're Flower and Flourish.
Oh, yeah, they are. Yeah.
Flower Flourish is a great card. Flower is like the enabler in this format to take 4 lands out of your deck.
Yeah, this deck, I watched
before.
it on the Lil stream because I stay up super late. I'm a degenerate. And this deck like takes black-green and just bends it over and gives it a spanking. It was actually quite comical because black-green seemed to prey on all the control decks, and then this deck preys on black-green just because it can go so wide, and black-green is just very like mid-range, like get value off of everything, but not really achieve a whole lot. It's like a grindy deck. Like I'm gonna like 1-for-1 you and match you like card for card.
It's an attrition deck.
Yeah. It's kind of like it relies a lot on green-black relies a lot on fine finality and the 6-drop Vraska from what I can see. And this deck with March of the Multitudes and the Flowers split card thing can just like, you get in these long games where each player has like 9 or 10 mana and the green-white player has a couple dudes. Well, they're just like, okay, end step, I'm going to make 9 1/1s or 8 1/1s, untap Flowers, give them +2/+2, coming at you for 30 damage, and the green black player's like, oh, I only have like 3 dudes. I mean, one of them's a Carnage Tyrant, but I only have 3 dudes.
Yeah, they don't go wide well. They're like
strange
and which is crazy because like usually the mid-range decks prey on the aggro decks, right?
Yeah.
Like mid-range is classically the deck that like stops the little.
But this is like mid-range, and so is the Golgari mid-range. But like this is more of a I'm not gonna say combo because that's just stupid. But like it's kind of like it's setting up for like an even like over the top, more like over the top sort of thing with March of the Multitudes and the Loxodon. Is that Loxodon, the 4/4 for 5 guy that like just gets value on all your dudes. Like, I mean, Shalai's a house. Like, you can march end of turn and then untap and Shalai, like pumping your team. And if they don't have an answer, then they're just pretty much dead because you just Shalai activate again the next turn. And
there's so many Anthem effects in this damn deck.
Yeah.
You have Shalai, you have Annihilation Marshal, which I'm glad is in another deck because that card is sweet. History of Benalia, which is a very niche like card in this deck, and then you have Pride of Conquerors, which it's a card I totally forgot existed until I'm looking at it right now, and then Flower Flourish. So this has many different ways of just running over, and then with the counters with Venerated Loxodon, like I've tried tinkering around with token decks in this format, but this is chef's kiss. I even like the sideboard, like the Shield Mares are sweet.
So good against Mono Red. Sweet. And Immortal Sun, I think its name is such a freaking house, dude. Yeah. I saw that on stream, and someone would just empty board Immortal Sun go, and the green-black players just like, oh, my 6-drop Vraska, what do I do now? I don't have an Assassin trophy in my hand. Like, good game. Like, all the green-white player does then is just like sit back, draw some cards, and keep on getting value off all their stuff they're doing. Like, Standard is sweet right now, man. There's so much like crazy stuff that goes on, but it's very like healthy in the sense where like both players, you know, have chances at these opportunities to like seize the game and just really, you know, capitalize on the game state if they're willing to make the correct lines or plays and set themselves up for these opportunities, you know. And it's fun. I was watching Lil and I was up to like 3 a.m. I'm just like, I have to sleep, but this is so good.
Oh man, so the green-black decks all look, you know, pretty similar in makeup. They have a lot of these like guys that explore, and then they have, you know, various like 4-drops to go with it, and chupacabras and stuff like that.
The Walker guy, Rogue Deckbuilder called that
Wild Growth Walker has been quite the card. I played with it originally before the account wipe. I had the Explore deck with the Rangers and the Merfolk Branch Walkers. I was also playing Ixali's Diviner and another Explore card, the black one, or Seeker Squire, I believe is what it's called. I was just jamming all of it, and it was a competent deck back then, and I had the feeling that it was going to be good in this format, and I wish that I had remembered and built it again because this deck is so sweet. This is right up my alley. This is exactly my type of playstyle. I'd have a 4th Carnage Tyrant, my personal opinion, and a 4th Fine Finality, maybe cut a Vivian Reed. Yep. But this deck is sweet.
Yeah, it's so. I get so frustrated playing against this deck because it has so many like key critical cards that can really shape the matchup and how it plays out that you have to be really careful. Like, you have to play around Vivian, you have to play around Fine Finality, you have to play around Vraska, you have to play around the Midnight 3-drop Reaper guy, where it's like you can't let that resolve because if they get that out, then you go to board wipe, they're just going to draw their whole hand again. Like, it's just this deck is super strong at every casting cost slot on the curve, and I think it's your deck to beat. Like, if you're going to Standard and you don't know what's going on, this is your deck to look at and just be like, okay, this is what I should be expecting.
It's interesting to me that of all these decks, like there's a bunch of Explore guys and no Steel Leaf champions. Like Steel Leaf champion not even part of the discussion.
Yep. And it plays Llanowar Elf. I mean, Llanowar Elf, 1 turn 2 Steel Leaf. Like, that's not that hard to do when you have shock lands in the meta. So I was surprised at that too.
It's too slow in this format now.
That's crazy. It's a 5/4.
Yeah, it's a 5/4. It's just it doesn't give you any value.
Yeah,
it doesn't give you any value. Explore, man. Explore is nuts. I've so many times seen Jadelight Rangers just draw them 2 cards, and I'm just sitting here like, quick, I'm on the draw, and you have a turn 2 Jadelight that just drew you 2 lands, and then I go to like Thought Erasure them, and they have a second like Vraska in their hand or something, and just like all the land drops they need to get there, and I'm just like, cool, good game. All right.
Dude, brutal.
I like the Deathcore Scavengers on the sideboard. That's a card that I had hoped would see more play. And Golden Demise as well. Golden Demise is a pretty sick card in this format.
Golden Demise, man. I've had that in my Grixis deck, and it has put in work. It is so valuable in clutch against mono red.
I'm really interested that there's no Ritual Soot in this list.
You got lots of guys that get scooped up by it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the Golden Demise hits your Merfolk Branchwalkers at the very least, and your
Ritual
Chupacabras.
Suit
But you're playing Find anyways. Like, I would kind of play Ritual Suit anyways and play a full playset of Find Finality because you got Golgari Finebreaker. This deck like recycles and churns through itself very easily.
Man. You could see Ritual Suit come into play further on into the meta if this deck changes any of its like main deck slots, like if it decides to randomly cut Branchwalker or perhaps even Jadelight Ranger for some in favor of something else like more removal or whatnot, and or even main deck Duress. I mean, I was surprised that this deck wasn't main decking Duress, honestly, but that's just me.
I feel like that'd be the better call if like Control was like super dominant in the format, having a 4 of Duress in the main board.
Yeah, and we might get there with Jeskai. I think Jeskai is like the contender with this deck for like top dog right now.
Mm-hmm.
But just because like White has the easiest time dealing with Carnage Tyrant, and the tandem of White and Blue control permission for this deck's reliance of sticking a Planeswalker gives Jeskai just that much little bit of an advantage over the other decks that it's going to be interesting moving forward how the meta shapes out.
Oh, and they get Teferi. Everybody's favorite, Teferi.
The card that effectively pushed Jace out of Modern.
Ouch.
I mean, like, not entirely, but I mean, people are definitely playing Teferi's over Jace. I don't blame him. Teferi's a fucking busted-ass Planeswalker, dude.
Yeah,
the ability to untap 2 lands is, like, I feel... I'm not one to say, like, oh, you need to ban this, you need to ban that, you need to ban this, you need to ban that. But if Wizards decided that they banned Teferi out of the format, I wouldn't really care. Like,
So there was a deck McBee played back in the day called Blue Skies, and it was like the easiest, by far the most abusive, like permission blue control deck I've ever played against in Magic.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this deck going around on Arena where people just play 4 Teferis as their win conditions and like 2 Expanse Explosions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. They don't play Cackling Drakes. They just like a bunch of negates and Justice Strikes and Seal Aways and just answers, you know? And their goal is to just make you concede. Like emblem Teferi, make you concede. And
I'm going to sit here because I have an hour and a half to kill.
Right. So like they just like try to get you to just like push that button, and if you don't, you're just gonna want to
back it up.
Yeah, it's really bad, and I think it's not good for the game for new players to experience that.
It's really the untapping 2 lands that pushes it over the edge.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If they would have made it a 6-drop and had that all the same exact abilities, it'd still be busted.
Yeah.
Just because drawing a card every turn, an extra card every turn, and untapping 2 lands to protect itself via Seal Away, Justice Strike, Negate. I mean, like you have just a list of options, and it's just busted. I'm getting all worked up talking about it now.
It is. It's a problem card.
I don't like it.
People used to think now this archetype here was going to be a problem. It was last season, so much so that they unreasonably banned Rampaging Ferocidon, which I think if it were unbanned and it were in this deck, it wouldn't really push it over the edge too much. This is mono red aggro, pretty standard. Fanatical Firebrand, great card. Get to Lava Runner, and it's an okay card. The Ishino Pyromancer, I'm really excited to see that it's seeing play. Experimental Frenzy. I believe we talked about that card before.
So good.
I love
that card.
Yeah, I had a chance to toy around with it, and wow, I did not learn how good that card was until recently. That card is good.
Yeah. Yep. It makes you want to play red, and that's not a bad thing. You shouldn't be ashamed to say that.
That's like red recycle, right? And you can blow it up. They have a little insurance on it. God, it's such a neat card. It's so very red too. The kind of random feel of it, and like it's a machine that it's an enchantment, but it's a machine that you can overload and destroy, but it can also like get you a bunch of benefit. It's great flavor, just great everything on.
Have you
Experimental Frenzy?
Have you played this list yet, Nick, on Arena?
I believe I have everything except for two more, or I believe I'm missing one Experimental Frenzy, and I'm missing the Fiery Cannonades out of the sideboard and the treasure maps, but I have this whole deck. I could play this whole thing.
Have you? Okay, so you haven't played it yet, but
no.
I
have a very similar list.
If you ever get to live the dream,
that card, I've fallen to the Runaway Steamkin trap. Maybe I just don't play the red deck correctly, but I've never really gotten to get my value off of it yet.
That card with Experimental Frenzy is filthy. You get two of them out, and you essentially get enough value off the enchantment of playing off the top of your deck that
just jamming enough one drops to where you can just
you can chain almost, I'd say, 5 or 6 spells off of it, and then if you get a third one, you go through your whole entire deck. It's just game over. I've done it, and the guy I'm like, you need to concede, man. This is this is over. So what I ended up doing was hitting another Experimental Frenzy on the top of my deck, which should be a dead end point where you're just done. That's turnover. But I had 3 Stimkins out, so I'm like, all right, I had 7 or 8 mana floating. So I'm like, all right, crack my frenzy off, play this frenzy off the top and keep going, and just your wizard lightnings turn into dark rituals that deal 3 damage. I mean, is that fair?
No.
It's fun.
Yeah, fun.
Your lightning strikes add what was that, a whole mana? I mean, it's.
Oh, I'm sorry. High score. Is that good? Did I break it?
Right.
So, our last deck here, because there was another Jeskai deck and another Golgari deck, and I didn't feel like copy pasting what we just described earlier about the decks. Some minor differences, like a main board Niv-Mizzet Perrin or whatever. Our last deck here is the Budget Hero That Could, and it was piloted by Gabriel Nassif himself. This is Mono Blue Tempo, which leads the game with cards like Mistcloak Herald and Siren Stork Tamer. You suit them up with Curious Obsessions, draw cards off of your chart, of course, and then you finish off the game by slamming down Tempest Djinns and protecting it with your Spell Pierces, Retorts, and Merfolk Tricksters. So this deck is sweet. I'm glad that Warkite Marauder's in there. It should have been in there from the beginning. And I believe it should be a 4 of in the deck. But then again, Nassif knows what he's doing, so 2 might be the right number. But this deck is still budget. It was like $40 when it first jumped on the scene. Now it's up it's only up to $60, $70. So this is a deck that if you're kind of getting antsy about standard and you don't know what to get into, either this or the mono red deck, but this most definitely is something that you should be looking into because this deck is fucking sweet looking.
It actually has 2 or 3 actually good cards in it, and then the rest are just
supported by a bunch of. Yeah, supported by a bunch of. This reminds me of Mono Blue Devotion. A few really good cards and supported by a bunch of giraffe chaff.
Yeah, supported by cards that have 2 blue mana in their casting cost.
Dude, Siren Storm Tamer is a house. That card is so good.
I was going to say that Curious Obsession and the Tempest Djinn are about the only really good cards in this deck.
Yeah. I mean, this deck is. You have to land a Curious Obsession.
No, Trickster's good. Merfolk Trickster's really good.
Yeah, Trickster can swing tempo. It's a scary card, but if you play around it and keep it in mind, you can kind of plan accordingly.
This deck plays Sleep. Yeah. Everybody go to sleep.
And it plays Mana War in the sideboard.
You're the comparison to the Mono Blue Skies deck would not be entirely off. Here, this almost reminds me of the Mono Blue Pauper deck.
Yeah.
If If the Jin was
Oh, like the Flying Men deck, or
yeah, like the deck with like what is it? Spellstutter Sprite and like Delver.
Delver.
Like that.
Yeah, Delver, Spire Golem, Ninja, the Deep Hours, that shit. Yeah.
Yep, that's totally it. That's exactly.
Yeah, this is the standard version of that. You're right. Yeah, this is totally the standard version of that deck. It's how many 1-drops? 4, 8, 12, 16, 21 drops? Yeah, dude.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
And then how many lands?
This is another good sign for the format, though.
Yep.
There's a deck like this that's just a bunch of garbage. I mean, what is Trickster is an uncommon, the Unblockable guy is common, uncommon, the Jin guy is rare. There are no other rares.
The Warkite Marauder, Tempest Jin, and I believe that is it.
That's awesome.
There's an Entrancing Melody in the sideboard. That's a rare. And I don't know what Selective Snare is, but I don't think it's a rare. But yeah, 8 rares in total in the entire deck. No mythics.
And then it plays 4 of the Bounce Mages too. Oh my god. The Mana War guy. That's so dope. This is like a bad deck from back in the day.
It's good though. It's good though. It's not bad.
Yeah,
I think did it win one of the tournaments I linked you, Nick?
This got second place.
Oh, second. It got second, sorry.
Yeah.
With a bunch of crap. Great.
It's $67 though on Goldfish.
I already have
$67 in paper, and you can just go possibly win a tournament, a Grand Prix.
I already have 3 of the Tempest Gen, so I might just go buy my 4th.
Nick's checking it off. He's like, I'm ready to go, guys.
I also have 2 playsets of Splinter Twin ready to go. Someday they're going to be unbanned. It's going to happen one day.
One day.
Someday.
But yeah, so Standard is healthy again, and thank God, because ever since Battle for Zendikar entered the scene and those duels, the fetchable duels came in, Standard has not been the same. It's just been trash.
I shake my fist at you, Standard.
And now I feel like it's finally catching up.
I would like to get the mono blue deck, and I would probably want to get the Jeskai deck because blue is awesome.
Have fun with those fairies.
I would like to get the mono blue deck and possibly the green deck.
Hey, it's better than buying Karns when they were at their all-time high.
One
they used to be
Teferi,
like 60 or something like that.
Yeah, what's one Teferi run us these days?
One Teferi is almost worth this entire deck. Like, what?
Blue-green madness, everybody.
Just play Arena, Sean. It's the alternative method.
Yeah, I have been, and it's dope.
I have almost half of these decks already built on Arena, and I've only dropped $50.
So give me your opinions on Arena so far. We'll start with you, McBee. How much time have you put into it? And like, what's your? The thing I want your opinion most on is the economy.
I've put $5 into it for the $5 intro pack, and I've drafted 10 times. I keep getting my money back out of drafting, or just below my money back out of drafting.
Slaying all those Hearthstone players.
Well, they need to get the fuck out of the way.
Once you climb the ladder, you might have some more difficult competition.
Well, yeah. Oh, wait, yeah.
Have fun when you reach whatever I'm in. I feel like I play against people that are like have been playing the game for just as long as I have. Like,
are you platinum? Are you platinum then?
This coming from a plat
player? I'm having a lot of fun so far off of $5. I have a bad green deck that I play and get my rewards for the day with, and I probably should be doing that right now instead of chatting with you fine fellas.
Well, fine, fuck you too.
I need to get my Ravnica packs. You need to get my Ravnica packs, coach.
Buy them. Put more money into it.
Question is, would you trade all your cards on your account for a $5 footlong?
Yeah.
No, I would not. I would not do that.
All right, that was my one dumb comment for the stream.
What about you, Dan? How much money and time have you put into it?
Quite a bit of time, but I've had possibly the most fun playing Magic now since I don't know, probably 15 years have gone by in my life. It's been really fun. I think this standard is the most healthy, overpowered standard I've ever played in, possibly.
Overpowered, huh?
Yeah, I think this standard is extremely powerful with Teferi and Ral and Carnage Tyrant, Doom Whisperer, Eldritch Reborn is an uncommon. That card is just nuts.
That card is sweet. It's
I mean,
like an uncommon rare, kind of like Tatia was an uncommon mythic, but
yeah,
Eldritch Reborn should be like a rare or a mythic. That card is sweet.
But yeah, I'm enjoying Arena, man. I think it's awesome. It's got a lot of work to go though. They got a lot of bugs and glitches that they got to fix.
Did you hear they're going to be pseudo implementing multiplayer into it in November?
Yep, friends being able to challenge your friends should be coming soon. Trademark.
Yeah, hopefully there's like a chat function because I don't want to have to also open up Discord or something while talking to them because that'd be really fucking annoying. They need to like copy as much of Battle.net as possible. I like the idea that the decks are freeform, so you can like do Pauper if you want. You can do Singleton if you want. Hopefully they'll bring about Commander or Brawl soon because if you can do that shit privately, like play some Commander games, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, I think Brawl is what you're going to be looking at. I think Commander on that client might be a stretch. Someone posted an image of like a cropped image of what it might look like, and it was kind of a nightmare. I don't know if I would want to play that.
Like bare bones, kind of, or
yeah, it was like a theoretical, like this is what Commander might look like, guys. I don't know for sure if you want this.
I think it's gonna need to be heads up for a while.
Yeah, I think Brawl is where you're gonna see possibly heading, but dude, Brawl will be so much fun. Like I'd rather have Brawl than nothing at all.
Yeah,
that rhymes. You know it does.
Yep. I mean,
I'd rather have Brawl. Than
like, isn't Brawl though the one where you can just play it with your Planeswalker as your general or whatever?
Yeah.
So everyone's just gonna be playing Teferi control.
Oh my god, that's a fucking nightmare.
Is that what's just gonna happen?
Oh Jesus.
No, thank you. Ugh.
Oh man, it's gonna be fun.
Why?
How many 2-mana spells can we play in a singleton format?
Rage quit.
Well, yeah, at least you won't have to worry about chained negates and essence scatters at that point. So it wouldn't be that busted, but it would still be pretty fucking annoying. And you wouldn't have to deal with the Justice Strike either. That card is sweet. I didn't really think much of that card, and I tried it out in a red-white mid-range deck, and it's pretty sweet. It's also started to see some modern play as well.
It's good. I mean, I've started to realize, like, man, I don't think a lot of creatures have more toughness than they have power. Like, Wizards of the Coast usually, like, when they template something out, it's typically like more power than toughness because I think they want red to be able to like interact with big creatures sometimes. Like a good example would be like your card Dream Eater. I would way rather have that card be a 3/4 than a 4/3.
Yeah,
so
I have a hard time.
Blast is so demoralizing.
I have a hard time playing that card now. It's just like, yeah, you pay 6 mana into a flash, bounce, and dig 4, but it just dies to lightning strike, and it just feels really bad, man.
Yeah, it's rough, but I mean, Justice Strike is
that's their way of evening out creatures' power, I guess, is to just lower the toughness just a notch. Like the only ones like in modern that I think that could survive it is like your Tarmogoyfs, Courser Crewfix, and like that's about it, really. Everything else dies to that card.
Yeah, it's pretty legit. I mean, Lightning Helix back in the day was a house, and this card so far from my like small, I'll call it a small sample size for right now, has done work. It has impressed me. It's definitely up there on like Lightning Helix level. For me, at least.
So, Sean, what would it take for you to get invested in Standard on Arena?
Not much. I'm feeling it. I would gladly get a Standard deck.
Okay, cool. Because I was about to say we all gotta like play some Standard or something. Because I'm not gonna like get too much into a diatribe here, but like as the more I play Arena, the more I've kind of just wanted to stay in and play Arena more. Like
right. That's It's like, well, I don't have to go and be around other smelly nerds. Okay, yeah, let's do that.
And I kind of hate that as well.
I know it feels bad. You're like, oh, I like the social aspect of the game, but I also like a good hermiting.
I like the
hermit.
I like the convenience of being able to play Magic in my underwear.
Which
I too like to play Magic in my underwear. No, I'm just kidding.
And also not having to look at Modo and that garbage fire of a client.
Dude, I can't even. Oof.
You also like to live dangerously. Hey, I gotta wrap this up, dude. I gotta go.
Oh, thank you for being blunt this time instead of trying to, trying to be sneaky about it. Whatever it was just like.
I was being sexually harassed last time. I was being sexually harassed.
But now you're just being upfront about it. Just be like, hey, we gotta fucking wrap this up. Let's get the fuck out of here.
For your sake, if nothing else.
Well, I would like to play some video games. Man, I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and as soon as we're done here, I'm gonna go fucking play that shit when we're done. Man, the game is sweet.
No Red Dead Redemption?
I've never really been into. I tried the first one, and it never caught my attention. Like I got like a couple hours into it, and it never pulled me in. So I didn't really play that all that much, and that's kind of why I'm not too hyped about it. I don't want to pay $60 to repeat an experience I had previously, but I do want to try being able to lasso someone up to my horse and drag him through town. That sounds pretty fun.
Well, on the bright side, Horizon Zero Dawn is an awesome game, so
it is.
Good choice there.
And we'll end it off on the note of, I just found out today that if you play Red Dead Redemption 2 and you tried to you cannot name your horse Sarah Jessica Parker. It's considered profanity.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder how that makes her feel.
Like she wants carrots and alfalfa?
Oh, man.
Who started that joke? I think it was South Park, right?
That Sarah Jessica Parker looks like a horse?
Yeah.
People who observed Sarah Jessica Parker in her old age. Yo, back in Hocus Pocus days, though, she was banging.
That's what I was going to say. Like, who's going to watch Hocus Pocus either tomorrow night or tonight?
I have it queued up right now.
Tomorrow is Halloween. Fuck, I forgot about that. Fuck, I was supposed to dress up in a costume. I don't even know what the fuck I'm going this year. I was thinking of going as Splinter Twin originally, but then I was like, that's too much fucking work. I need another person to copy the exact same outfit. But yes, McBee. Slow turn. Yeah, thanks, dude.
Hey, best Halloween candy.
Best Halloween candy. Oh God. Payday. I love paydays.
Ooh, good choice.
Crunch bars.
Crunch bars.
That's my favorite movie theater candy.
My favorite is Kit Kat.
Oh,
Kit Kat's a classic.
Candy corn for a second. I was gonna have to unfriend you.
Madness. This is madness.
Who actually likes candy corn?
Yo,
like,
there's
legit.
somebody who works.
I used to.
Really?
Yep.
Do they have these things called taste buds?
I mean,
do they respect their taste buds?
I don't understand it. Candy corn is so nasty.
Yeah.
You know what's great though? When you go to Winco and they have the barrels full of things that you can get in bulk.
Mm-hmm.
The different candy you can get in bulk. They have these gummy pumpkins that are so good. Oh, they don't taste like pumpkin. They taste like gummy pumpkin.
Gummy pumpkin.
They're so good, dude. Go to your local. If you got Winco or you got, I don't know, Cub Foods or whatever, or local Fries.
They actually just built a Winco right down the street from me. Like it's like a 15-minute walk. I'll walk over their stones sometimes in the middle of the night and just go grab cosmic brownies. Yeah, dude. Yeah. 24-hour grocery store.
Like,
I wish more places
out of my way, deaf person. I'm here for gummies.
Winco's awesome, man. They're an employee-owned company.
One time I broke a bunch of beer there and they didn't charge me for it.
Wow.
Dude, fuck yeah.
Wow.
I walked into a display of beer and someone fell over.
Damn. Oh, man.
Shout out to the Winco in Springfield.
Hopefully they're watching or they're going to listen eventually and they'll be like, oh yeah, that motherfucker. Fuck that.
That's that guy who spilled all our beer all over the place.
He didn't even say anything. He just walked away in shame.
You didn't even offer to clean it up.
Hey, get back here!
Yeah, we still need to charge you for all that for all those lost beers.
Why did that just remind me of like a Kevin Smith movie?
Which one?
Like in Clerks when he's like, he stuck 37 dicks in a row?
In a row? And then walks out to the parking lot. He's like, try not to suck any dicks on the way out. And then he's like, you come back here.
Hey, get back here. Kevin Smith.
Oh, man.
God, I haven't watched those movies in forever. I watched a couple recently, and the only ones that I can say with confidence that I actually still like to this day, I like Jay and Silent Bob because like it's a movie that knows what it is. I like Dogma a lot. Dogma's really good, and the original Clerks is really good. And Chasing Amy. I think Chasing Amy kind of is a little over the top, but I think those are all pretty solid movies. Mallrats kind of aged poorly, but Jason Lee and it's fucking.
My libido?
That kid is back on the
escalator.
The schooner is a sailboat, you idiot. Oh, I love that
movie. All right, dude. Talk to you guys next time.
All right. You have a good night, sir. All right. So, what the fuck do I say at the end? Thank you for watching Mana Dorks Podcast, episode 12. Rogue Deckbuilder is a hateful, bigoted, evil person. Yeah, slander. Rogue Deckbuilder, you need to sue this guy because we said so. But, anyways, brought to you with my co-host, Dan.
I can't just stop.
And McBee dancing in the background. And as always, I'm Tasty Snackies. You all have been wonderful. I'll catch you on the flip side.
Yeah, motherfucker.